Hello, ladies. Today I am going to be talking about how you can dress yourself taller and look taller instantly. Absolutely instantly. And you do not have to wear painful high heel shoes in order to do this. So I'm very excited to be here today. And thank you for those of you who are joining me live. This is going to be a fun and interactive video where I get to see your questions and answer your questions even if it's just in the replay. But for those of you who are joining me, it's so wonderful to have you here. Please let me know in the chat where you are coming in from and yeah, what your questions are about fashion and fun and how to dress taller. I just want to also say that if you happen to be mid or even tall, so mid height to tall, this is still going to work for you. These are great tips regardless, because all of us want to make the best of our body shape. And I've always wanted to be tall, so I don't feel that women who are tall should make themselves shorter. Enjoy being tall. So for those of you who are new to my channel, if you don't know me already, I'm Tracy Gold. I'm a personal stylist, fashion designer, YouTube fashion influencer, and a QVC fashion presenter. And I am super excited to be here with you and sharing tips that hopefully are going to help you to look and feel fabulous. And I think especially as we are hopefully coming out of some of the COVID restrictions as vaccinations are being administered and things are getting a little more rosy and more hopeful, we can start looking at our closets and deciding what it is that we want to wear for spring and summer. And at the end of this video, towards the end of this video, I have a gift for you. So you want to make sure to stay tuned because you are going to want to get that free gift, because that's going to help you determine what it is that you want to wear this season and how to look taller or look as fabulously tall as you are. So let's get going. And yeah, so for those of you who are here, it would be awesome just to hear. I mean, I can see that there's some of you here. So just pop just pop a comment in the chat. Also, if you have any questions, this is the intention of this is to make it really interactive and fun. So I just want to tell a little bit of my story before I head into the tips. So I am 5'2.5". Yes, and that half does sometimes matter, but I'm around 5'2". And for most of my life, I felt like I needed to wear high heel shoes to look fabulous. In fact, I remember one time a dancing friend of a dance teacher of mine said to me, she says, I don't think I ever saw you wearing anything but high heel shoes except when you were dancing. So that's changed. I have moved to New York City, but what really shifted my focus was when I went to Italy. I went a few years ago. I think it was in 2016, I believe. Yes, 2016. And, preparing for my trip, I was thinking, I am intending on walking around the city. I'm intending on being around and seeing as much as I possibly can. I love walking around the city, and I'm certainly not going to be hobbling around in high heel shoes. And so I, packed flat shoes and had prepared myself to do so. And when I got to Italy, I found the most astounding thing that so many of the women in Italy are actually short. In fact, my husband used to joke and he goes, "Oh, you tower over all of these women." I was like, "Yeah, I think I fit in here." So the interesting thing is that they weren't hobbling around in high heel shoes either. In fact, I remember we were in Siena one time and we went out to a club in the evening. It was an amazing live music and dance club. Oh, it was fabulous. It was one of my highlights of my trip. And, we had to walk cobbled streets because it was in Siena. So Siena is a walled city, and there are all these little cobbled streets that you have to walk around. And it was quite a walk to get in there. And because parking is not available inside the city, you have to park outside the city and then walk inside. And I noticed how the women were arriving. So they were arriving with a little bag, and they would take their flat shoes off and pop out their high heel shoes and then wear their high heel shoes, in the club, and then obviously change again when they get out. So it was interesting to me that they are short. They also, for the most part, are not wearing high heels on a day-to-day basis. And what I find so fascinating is that they are known for being some of the most stylish women in the world. And I concur with that. They are so inspiring. And so I looked at this and I thought, if they can do that, then so can I. And that's what changed it for me. And then I moved to New York City. And let me tell you, I am a subway girl. I catch the subways. Okay, it's been COVID. Haven't been catching that many subways, but I walk around the city a lot. You know, if I can walk rather than catching public transport, I do that. But still, catching a subway means going up and down stairs. It means standing on platforms. It means also walking over these, you know, these grids that easily high heel shoes can get stuck in there. So high heels, I mean, I wear a little bit of a heel, but it's generally a block heel and a wider heel, and it's always got to be comfortable. But wearing these uncomfortable high heel shoes is just not practical for me. And the only time I'm ever prepared to carry shoes with me is if it's snowing and my shoes are going to be ruined, and I'll wear snow boots, and then I'm going to a party and I'll change over into my shoes. I generally don't do the changing shoes thing. I just couldn't be bothered to carry around with all the other things that I'm carrying in the city, carry those things with me. So yeah, so that is my story. And I have learned how to just appreciate my height for what it is and to find ways to dress my body in a way that makes me look taller. And these are tried and tested tips that I'm going to share with you ladies. They have been used on many of my clients because many women feel that if they aren't, you know, 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", that they aren't as stylish or aren't as fashionable. And I say boo to that. Absolute boo to that. You can be fashionable regardless of your height. And it's not to say that those 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", oh, I'm very envious. But, you know, it's not to say that those women aren't stylish because they're fabulous. But it doesn't mean you have to be that height to look and feel fabulous. So I'm going to share my tips with you today. Oh, I see. This is, oh, so fantastic. Celestial, hi. Celestial says, I always wear flats. You go, girl. Absolutely. Oh, and Sharon, it's so great to see you. She says, that is so smart. Which part of it, Sharon? Which part is so smart? So, okay, now let's talk about how to dress taller regardless of your height. Now, I'm going to give you a few tips, and at the end of the video, I'm actually going to give you the link so that you can download the first module of this that's going to give you some visual examples of this, because obviously this is a live video, so you know I'd be happy to step back and let you see, you know, and show you things. However, I'm not going to get changed on camera. I do have some limits, right? I'm pretty, you know, okay, but I'm not going to do it on YouTube. So in this video, I'm going to talk through the basic tips, and then I'm going to give you an opportunity to download the module 1. You will get it free of my How to Dress Taller course, and you will see some very good examples that comes with a video as well as an e-magazine, and you'll get some great examples and tips that hopefully you can implement for yourself. Okay, so Sharon says Italian club goers wearing flats and then changing at the club. Absolutely. I think that was a phenomenal idea. I'm just kind of in that space of, do I really want to change my shoes? Although the cobbled streets, let me tell you, the cobbled streets, but then again, I think about in New York, we actually have quite a few cobbled streets as well. I just find if I'm wearing a block heel, then it's much easier. I actually find you can wear like a block heel that is a more solid heel that isn't going to get stuck into those little cobbled streets. I find that works really well. In fact, hold on, I'll give you an example. Don't we just love this? Okay. And these happen to be some of my favorite shoes. These are my Fluvogs. Absolutely love John Fluvog. I know I've met them, by the way. They're incredible people, and John is the most amazing designer. So you'll see here, these are, you know, these I can wear almost anywhere because they're not going to get stuck into something. They're not going to be super, and they really are comfortable. They give me the support. It's a good quality shoe. And I think that also makes a difference when it comes to finding your shoes. But I talk about that in the course, so you can actually get some of that information in the full course if you decide to take that. Okay, so let's get stuck into the tips. Hello, Donna. So good to see you. Lovely to have you. Dee, so wonderful. Oh, this is awesome. It's great to have you guys here. And just pop your questions in. I may not get to them straight away, but I definitely will get to them. It's hard to find heels in size 3. Celestial, now I know that you are originally from Australia. So are you talking about a UK size 3 or are you talking about a American size 3? Because I'm a size 5 in America. And I also have very, very tiny feet. And I agree. Even Fluvog, I love Fluvog, but they very seldom have them in my size. And in fact, these were on sale. They were the last pair. So I thought they were just absolutely meant for me. And I've worn them to death. I've even had this heel thing replaced as well. And it looks like, ooh, it's going to need that again sometime soon. All right, ladies, let's get stuck into, sorry, my nose is itchy. Let's get stuck into the tips. Right. So first tip is to define your waist. Now, this is actually one of the most amazing tips that any woman can do for her body, regardless of her shape, her size, her height, you name it. It is especially helpful for women who are short, and I'll tell you why. So if you define your waist, you automatically do two things. You make your legs look longer, and you show the natural balance between your shoulders and your hips. Now, I'll show you an example. So let me just back up a little bit here. So I'm wearing this top. This is a wrap top. It is one of my, I made it years ago, absolutely years ago, but it is a style that I do in my collection. Now, I love this because it's got the waist definition, it's got the belt here. But if I were to open it up, I'm not going to get undressed, but I'll show you. If I didn't have that kind of definition, okay, let me see. I'm going to kind of hold it and yeah. It's, if I kind of had it without the shape, and it's kind of hard to say because this really does have quite a bit of shape already. This definition that the belt gives, that the real kind of defining the waist automatically makes you look a lot better. All right. Also, quite naturally, most of us are balanced between our shoulders or our boobs and our hips. Most of us actually have that balance. You know how sometimes when you gain weight and you gain it on your bust, you say, "Oh, it's all going to my bust." Well, actually, that's probably usually your body balancing itself out. So you'll find often if it's going onto your hips, it's also going onto your bust. And women often don't kind of know what to do with their bust because suddenly they've gained weight, and then it's your body's having its way of just balancing things out. Okay. So I'm broad in my shoulders. My shoulders are actually my broadest point, but it would look even worse if I was wearing super baggy clothing and not defining my waist. What I also really love about defining my waist is that it makes my legs look like they start from here. And that automatically makes them look longer compared to if it was at the end of my top. If I'm wearing a baggy top, it's going to make my legs look like it starts here, which that's a lot of extra length, a lot of extra length. So defining your waist is really, really important for so many reasons. And it can completely transform you. Now, I know many women then say to me, well, I already have a lot of clothes in my closet that don't have defined waist, or they're not, there are different ways that you can define your waist. There are many different ways you can do that. And the first is to wear shapely clothing. That's tip number 2. Shapely is always better than baggy. Always better than baggy. And let me say to you that I have styled a variety of women of all different shapes, sizes, ages, body shapes, you name it. So I've styled women a lot smaller than myself, and I've styled women who are a lot curvier than myself. And I've been styling women for over 17 years. So I really do understand that there are different body shapes and different sizes. Still, without a shadow of a doubt, shapely clothing is always better. Now, shapely clothing for me may look a little differently, maybe a bit different to shapely clothing for, say, maybe a plus size woman. A plus size woman still looks amazing in shape. Absolutely amazing. Phenomenal. Like giving yourself some waist definition, giving yourself some shapely clothing, and shapely doesn't mean tight. So most times we think in extremes. We think, oh, it's going to be super tight and I'm going to be popping out. No, that's not necessarily the case. Shapely is just giving you shape as opposed to being straight up and down and baggy and lots of volume and lots of fabric. Okay. Now, when it comes to learning how to work with your baggy clothing, there are some hacks that you can do. There are some ways that you can do it. Now, in the course, I shared quite a few. Every section, every module has some hacks and some ways of getting around things because, fashion impacts what we can buy. Fashion impacts what is available to us, what we like, what we see. I mean, I think many of us think, not really following the trends, but they do impact on us slightly, right? Even if it's to a slight degree. Now, one of my favorite ways of defining your waist when you have something baggy is to belt it. And I'll just share this with you. So I actually sell these. These are in my collection. They are super, super comfortable because they're stretchy. Yay. So you know how when you wear a belt, especially if it's leather, and you wear it up into your waist and it kind of just starts to feel really uncomfortable. Do you know that feeling? Especially sitting at your desk and then it's not that comfortable, especially if it's tight. And then you feel like, okay, should I take it off or should I just not breathe? I think we've all had that, especially going to lunch, right? Had a nice lunch, feeling a little uncomfortable. Should we lose the belt? Can we do it gracefully? I know what you mean. These are super comfortable. They really are stretchy. And they actually, now you want to wear them straight up into your waist. Okay, ladies, you don't want to wear them here. This is not your waist. Do me a favor. As you're sitting there now, I want you to feel where the narrowest part of your waist is. Just put your fingers in right. I'll show you mine. Right in the narrowest part. That is your waist. This is not your waist. All right. So I think for many of us over 40, we know this hipster vibe, right? We had the hipster vibe for quite some time. So the hipster vibe made us think that our waists were down here, and that's where your tummy is. Now, that's not generally the most flattering part to emphasize. What we want to emphasize is our narrowest point, and we want to take the belts into that. Okay, I've got a belt already. It's a little bit funny. So let me just do that. But we want to go into the waist, whoops, and around and give us that definition. Now, what's great is if you've got something that is fairly baggy, you can actually define it. In fact, this is how I do it sometimes. Sometimes if I buy something and it sort of lacks shape, then I'll just put a belt on it. And this is just such a flattering shape. These ties are really nice and long. They go down the body. You can cut them to whatever length you like. They go down the body, which also draws the eye down the body. And ladies, what does that do? That makes you look taller. So the link that I'm going to give you just now also has these belts. They're available in black, red, and brown. So feel free to take a look at those. All right, so the next tip is to wear shorter hemlines. Now, I know that this causes a lot of anxiety for some women, especially those of us who are over 40, like, oh, I don't want to show my knees, or I don't want to show. All right. So when I say shorter hemlines, it doesn't have to mean that it's super short. I'm not talking about you can't sit down in it. It's just way too short. What I'm talking about is just not overcompensating. So sometimes we want to cover our knees and then we go into a very kind of 3/4 length, mid-calf type of length. If you want to cover your knees, that's absolutely fine. Go just below the knee. If you're comfortable with your knees, then you can go on the knee, above the knee, just above the knee, but anything in the shorter realm is going to give you a little bit of extra length. If you wear long, and you can wear long, you absolutely can wear. I wear long dresses. The shape of it, I talk about this in the dresses module of the course. So I go into a lot more detail about dresses and how to wear longer dresses. It's all about the shape of it. And then also you want to have them as long as possible, touching your shoe. So you want to create a nice long line. So you can go, if you go short, go as short as you feel comfortable with. And then if you go long, go all the way long. Go as long as possible, because what you don't want is any kind of 3/4 length or cropped length can actually make you look shorter. And I'll talk about that in a moment. All right, then Oh, I love this tip. This is a tip that is absolutely one of dear to my heart kind of tips. It's one of my favorite. Nude shoes. So simple. Such a simple tip and super easy to do. Now, let me clarify. Nude, whatever nude is for you is going to be your nude. So I'm very pale. So these boots that I actually bought in Italy, okay, these are nude for me. If you have a beautiful dark caramel skin, then you want to go for more of a caramel brown color. That's going to be nude for you. If you're even darker, you can go with a chocolate brown. If you're mid-tone, you want to go with a mid-tone. Nude is whatever is nude for you. So just because I'm wearing this as a nude shoe doesn't mean this is going to be your nude shoe. Now, what does nude do? Oh, nude is fabulous. Nude makes your legs look longer automatically. Don't we just love that? So it actually draws the eye down. It makes your foot look like an extension of your leg. So even if you are wearing flat shoes, a nude flat is going to be more flattering for you. It's going to create that elongated effect. Even better yet, if you can wear something with a slightly pointed tone, it doesn't have to be super, super. I mean, I know obviously my fluvogs are a very rounded toe, all right? But if you can have something with a little bit more of a pointed toe, you will also find that will make you look a little taller and a little longer, more elongated. You want to draw the eye down the body and just have that extension. So even if you're wearing flats, you can look tall and fabulous. Amazing, right? And I'm a big fan of flats. Okay, so I see lots of comments. I'm just going to take these quickly and see. All right, so Celestial says it's hard to find. Okay, oh, you say US size 3. Wow, Celestial, that is a tough one. Yes. But then you're wearing flats anyway. So, but that's not an easy one. You know, Celestial, what you might want to do is actually look, a little bit more expensive, I have to say. But sometimes some of the Italian shoe brands, they their shoes are very small. I find Italian shoes fit me really well. In fact, I remember. So, living in South Africa, I really had a hard time finding shoes because there are not many size fives, US fives in South Africa. And I remember when we went to Italy, my husband just looked around and he was like, oh my goodness, Tracy, all of the shoes are your size. And I was like, yes, I know, isn't it amazing? I didn't have to, go in and ask them, do you have this size? And then wait and wait and wait. And they say, no, sorry, we don't even make it in that size. It was just, it was like shoe heaven for me. Totally amazing. So Celestial, you might find, I have found in the US, and even if you check on, some of the secondhand sites, like for instance, what's that one? Poshmark, I think, where, stores have got extra excess over. Sometimes those smaller sizes don't sell because there are very few people that have that wear those sizes. So take a look. There's some amazing brands that I found, Italian brands, that their shoes are very small cut and they may actually work for you. All right. So Celestial also says, I don't have a waist because my ribs go all the way to my hips. That's a great question. So you can fake a waist. You absolutely can fake a waist. I would say probably, you might find that the belt trick doesn't work as well for you because of that. But then what you can do is wear things that create this nip in effect. So like a peplum blouse would be fabulous. Where it goes in and then it juts out like that, it will create that. Jackets that are very nipped in the waist and defined will be absolutely fabulous. That can work like a charm for you. My favorite skirt is one that falls just above my knee. Fabulous. That's amazing. Yes. Okay. So let's get on to the next one. Let's talk about cropped. And this is a funny one because many of the fashionistas that I come across that speak about, petite or short women styling tips often say, oh, wear cropped, it makes you look taller. I disagree. I actually find it makes you look shorter. And I'll tell you why. I find that whenever, the eye goes to where there's skin. So if you are wearing a cropped pant or a cropped skirt, and I mean cropped as being kind of anywhere between just below your knee and and full length, what happens is the eye goes to where there is skin and it automatically shortens you. Now, in the course, I also give some hacks that you can use, and there are some ways of making this work for you, that will make it more appealing or make it really work for you if you want to wear those trends. So if you really love crop pants and you really want to wear them, there's some fabulous hacks in there for you, and you can get those. But as a general, I normally avoid 3/4 lengths because I find that they just cut me off right there and make me look shorter. If you don't believe me, try this at home. Just whatever you're wearing, okay, if you're wearing pants, take one leg. If one leg is full length, have one leg as full length, and the other, just roll up your pants or your jeans or leggings or whatever it is you're wearing to that cropped length, to that in-between length, and look in the mirror and see what I mean. Once you see it, you can't not see it. It's actually, in fact, you may hate me for seeing it because once you've seen it, you can't not see it, right? It's very scary. Okay, so those are the tips that I have for you. And I see, wow, we're already like 26 minutes. This has just absolutely flown by. And I'm going to share with you this link so that you can go there. There's a whole bunch of resources. You can sign up if you haven't already signed up to my insiders list. You can sign up and you automatically will get the module 1. If you are already on my mailing list, it will be coming to you tomorrow. So don't worry, but look out for it because it will give you module 1, which is the e-magazine plus the video. So I give a whole bunch of examples in the video, and then I have an e-magazine, and you can actually scan. There's a QR code, and you can scan it with your cell phone, and then you can save it as a bookmark inside of on your phone, on your browser, your Safari, or whatever it is that you're on. And that way you can have it at any given time. So if you go shopping, when we actually go shopping, when we go out, you can have it with you for easy access. And then if you like what you see, it really is just the basic principles, some of the basic principles that we've discussed now today, but it will give you visual examples of what I'm speaking about. Then there are other modules as well. There's one on dresses, and there's one on skirts, and there's one on blouses, and there's one on, on shoes and jeans. And so I go into every single one with more detail and give you more examples. And each one has also got the e-magazine with it, plus the video content. So it's really, really helpful. So I hope you found this amazingly helpful. I hope you are totally inspired and that you're ready to go and hit your closets and find ways that you can look taller. And I'm really hoping that this module 1 is going to help you to do that and that you'll want to know more. So it's awesome to speak to you. Let's just see if there's any other questions. So Celestial says, cropped anything is normal length for me. Isn't that awesome, Celestial? That's one of the great things about being short, right? is that it can be normal length. It's absolutely fine. It's exciting. I also found that as well. Sometimes I've gone and bought cropped jeans and they're the perfect length, and then I don't have to take them up, which is always a blessing. So Dee says, how to make your upper arms look smaller. Dee, that is a great question. So maybe I should do a video on that coming up soon as well. Please feel free to pop into the comments what you want me to do videos on, because I'm doing these every Friday, 2 p.m. live. And so feel free to join me next week. I'm going to be talking about my secret hair tips. So, and especially during lockdown, because I haven't been able to go to hairdressers and I haven't been able to do the usual things that I would normally do, I have found some really, really clever tricks and some phenomenal products that are really affordable and are going to make it possible for you to have beautiful, amazing hair over 40. So just because you're over 40 doesn't mean you have to, have less hair or not have long hair. So we're going to talk about some of those wonderful tips, and I'll be sharing with you some of my fabulous tricks. I'm really, really excited about that. And then I also have a video coming up soon, the 2 weeks from then, because we have Easter weekend, which I won't be doing that on that Friday. We're going to be talking on how to look fabulous on a budget. Yes, because I think many of us have got smaller budgets than we normally would have due to this year of COVID. And I'm gonna share some of my surprising tips that you may be quite surprised to hear. Not just the ordinary ones, but some really quite fun ones on how I work on a budget and how you can do that too. So, ladies, it was absolutely awesome to have you here. Please feel free to continue to comment in the replay or even after this video. Feel free to put your comments and your ideas of videos that you would like to see coming up soon, because I really appreciate your ideas. I love to hear your feedback. Till next week, I'll see you soon. Bye.